Hello everyone, this is Anna. In this video, I wanted to do a review and flip through of the Enchanted by Nature Oracle deck by Anna Babich. I just received 3 of her decks in the mail and I want to show you all of them. They're all beautiful, but this is probably my favorite. So I'm going to start with this one. As I said, this is the Enchanted by Nature Oracle deck. Subtitle, An Oracle of Botanical Magic. And I love this deck for so many reasons. Of course, I love all of Anna's creations. She's extremely talented, and she actually illustrated and designed my most recent Oracle deck, the Oracle of the Magical Fairy Forest. She has also designed quite a few decks for my clients, and she's also in our Deck Creators Launchpad, our mastermind for card deck creators, and she's also helping some of our members in their design and illustrate their card decks. So this deck was created by hand. There's no AI involved in designing this deck as far as I know. And so you'll see when I show you the cards. This is basically a collage style, piecing together lots of different images, photographs, and illustrations, and she just made everything look really beautiful. So in this video, first of all, I wanted to show you the deck itself, so all components of the deck, and then I want to flip through all the cards so you can see what each of the cards looks like. And at the very end, I'm also going to do a reading with this deck. So this is going to be my first official reading with this beautiful deck. So let's get started with the box. So very simple, elegant 2-piece box. Here's the cover and the back. And then there's lots of beautiful little details on the sides as well. I really love all the attention to detail that Anna puts into all of her creations. And this one's really exquisite. For those of you who are curious, maybe you're on the journey of creating your own Oracle deck, or you're thinking about creating your own Oracle deck, and maybe you're exploring some options for getting your deck printed. This one was produced by a print-on-demand supplier, and yes, you'll see certain things. I'll highlight certain things in this video. So the box, as you can see, is a very simple 2-piece box. It's very elegant, and it's high quality as well. There's a glossy finish, and the printer that Anna's working with, as far as I know, it's one of those print-on-demand suppliers that do have quite a lot of options, but in comparison with the printers that we usually work with, there are certain limitations. So for example, there are no thumb cuts here on the side. And I think this is the only 2-piece box that they have, but they do keep adding new options as well. And let me just open the box and take out the cards. So I think when I opened the box for the first time, the first card was at the top of the deck, but I'm going to show you this one first. So this is the one at the bottom of the deck, and this deck does not come with a printed guidebook. It includes a digital guidebook that you can download by scanning this QR code. And the reason for this is, I think, kind of what I already mentioned. This deck was printed on demand, even though I think this printer does offer full-length guidebooks, which most print-on-demand printers don't offer. But when you're printing on demand, especially with this printer, it can be pretty pricey to add more components. So a guidebook would just raise the production cost for the deck quite a bit, and so she wanted to keep it simple and somewhat affordable, and so that's why there's no printed guidebook included. quite a few of my clients have done this as well, even when printing with one of our large-scale manufacturers. Some people just don't want to include a printed guidebook, and then you have the option of including an extra card, or maybe 2 or 3 with some additional information. So here we have information about Anna Babich as the author. And sometimes you might also find a card with instructions, maybe, if there's no digital guidebook and it's just the cards. So you can get creative with this in many ways. All right, now let's look at the card fronts. Actually, here we have the card back. I'll show you this first. So very beautiful, simple, elegant. It really matches the overall theme and design and style of the deck. I just love it. So now I'm going to put the box aside and turn around the deck, and we'll go ahead and flip through the card fronts. So I'll just show you a few of these, and maybe I'll comment on a few cards, and then I'll flip through the rest with music in the background probably. So here we start with the Death Flower. This is the first card in the deck, and I thought this was interesting because usually when we start a deck, we might want to start with something connected to new beginnings. And so death in a lot of ways is about endings, but it is also a portal that leads to new beginnings. So I thought that was really interesting. And Anna really loves to play with the contrast between, dark and light, life and death, and all of these beautiful aspects of life that are part of the life that we're living here on Earth. So yeah, really beautiful. As I said, there's no AI involved in creating the art for this deck. Now here we have the Fruit of Life. This is the second card in the deck, and so this would be more of the contrast here. So we have death and then we have life. And of course they're connected. And yeah, so here you can see there are a lot of different elements in each of the images. There's a lot of symbology. She put a lot of love and work into all the details here. So if you love working with oracle decks that have rich imagery with a lot of symbols and things that you can really dive into and connect with and receive intuitive messages from, then this is a really beautiful deck to work with. And as you can see, as the title of the deck already says, this is really a nature-based deck inspired by elements of nature. You'll find a lot of plants in here, some real ones and some that Anna made up as well. So some plants from Anna's imagination. And the money tree is actually a plant that exists, but as you can see, she also kind of made up her own version of it. And here we have soul fruit. So this would be one from Anna's imagination. Inspiration berry. I really like this one. Of course, I always love the magic, the unicorn. Very ethereal, fairy tale vibe. I love it. The playfulness berry. Yeah, lots of really beautiful images. So here we have the orchid, which is a real plant. Avocado, one of my favorite foods. All right, so now I'm going to flip through the rest of the cards with some music in the background, and then once I'm done, I'll be back and I'll do my first official reading with this deck. Okay, so here's the last card in the deck, and I did want to add one more thing here, so I forgot to mention the quality of the cards. First of all, the cards have a glossy finish, and the cardstock compared to the printers that we usually work with is a little bit thinner. I'd say this is probably a 320, maybe 300 GSM, so you can tell it's a little bit thinner. I would say it doesn't feel flimsy, but if it was any thinner, I would definitely, it would feel a little thin. And yeah, so this is a tarot size deck, and usually with smaller cards like tarot size or smaller, you can get away with a slightly thinner cardstock. For anything bigger than this, I would definitely recommend going with a 350 GSM cardstock. It also depends on the finishing options a little bit. If it's laminated, especially with matte lamination, which I don't know if this printer offers this option now or not, then that will also make the cards feel a little bit thicker. But with the glossy finish, it doesn't really add much thickness. Also, comparing the quality of this printer, like, it's a really beautiful deck. I feel like it feels high quality, and if you've never created a deck before, you might not really notice these differences as much, but I would say compared to the printers that we usually work with for bulk production, so the large-scale manufacturers that we usually work with that do require minimum print run of usually 500 copies, sometimes 300, I would say, so the cards, the colors feel a little bit muted or almost a little bit faded, and so with another printer, I would say the colors would probably be a little bit more saturated, have a little more contrast, or just be a bit darker, but every printer is different as well. So I'm not totally sure if this was intended. Maybe it's exactly the way it's supposed to be, but I would guess that with one of the large-scale manufacturers, a different printing method, so offset printing, would produce slightly more saturated results. But all in all, this is really beautiful, and it is a really great option. If you're just getting started, you want to kind of try out some decks. Maybe you create a lot of decks and you just want to produce them relatively quickly and get them up in your Etsy store. There are so many different ways we can go about this. Then this can be a way to do it with a small investment up front, but then the cost per deck is going to be higher as well. And let's say, if you're just creating one deck, you want to go all in and you want to get a larger quantity printed, you can launch your deck on Kickstarter, for example. That's what both my co-creator Heath and I have done. I launched my Oracle of the Magical Fairy Forest on Kickstarter last year, and so if you do it that way, then you can raise the funds for a larger print run. And there are also Kickstarter creators who create a lot of decks, and they just do one deck after another. So, but this is an easy option if you don't want to really worry about launching anything on Kickstarter, or you don't want to really do big launches. You just want the deck to be out there, and then you want to create your next, and you don't really want to invest that much up front into getting your decks printed. Then you can print on demand, and you can always expand from there later on as well. Now let's do our first official reading with this deck. I'm just going to go ahead and shuffle the cards, and I'm going to invite you to take a quick moment to close your eyes, take a few nice deep breaths, relax and center yourself. And set an intention or ask a question, and then simply allow yourself to receive the messages that resonate with you the most. That is what you most need to hear today. And I think I'm going to pull 3 cards this time because we won't have any messages from the guidebook, but I want to get a little bit more detail here. Okay, so here's card number 1, number 2, and if you like, you can pick one card that is going to be the highlight of this reading for you, but I will read them together in combination. So let's turn them around. First one is the forbidden fruit. Interesting. Then we have wolfsbane. So we got number 3 and number 4. It's interesting because I really shuffled them and I didn't pull 2 of these at the same time. And we have peony, number 36. So I'll read each of the messages, and then I'll tune in and see what intuitive messages I get from the cards for you. Forbidden fruit, number 3. Transformation requires courage. Do not fear the shedding of your old skin. Embrace the strange new form your soul is destined to take. Then we have number 4, wolfsbane. Within beauty, poison may hide. Look beneath tempting offers. Protect your spirit, and do not hand your sacred light to what feels wrong. And then we have number 36, peony. You are a masterpiece of 1,000 petals. Do not try to solve your whole life at once. Choose one layer, one step, and give it full attention. Okay, I think I need a moment to tune into the messages. There's a lot of complexity here, a lot of nuances, a lot of imagery. I'm just going to try and get the vibe of the overall combination of the cards here. Yeah, so the first thing that's coming up for me here is really the connection of these 2 cards here. So the forbidden fruit card really points to a change that is wanting to take place in your life, maybe something that you're considering, maybe a new opportunity that you're considering, also in connection with this card here. And so there's something that you want to explore potentially, that maybe there's a sense of doubt or hesitation, and there's 2 kind of opposing forces here. So there's this part of you that may feel like, you want to explore something, and maybe you're not entirely sure if it's for you. And some of you may be looking for permission to go for something that you truly and deeply desire, that would be in your highest interest and for your highest good. And so in a way, you're looking for permission from within yourself, but then also there might be an opportunity more from the outside that feels like, it could be opening a door for you in that direction, but maybe you're hesitating or doubting, not fully trusting. And so the message here really is to return to yourself, return to your inner self, and really be honest with yourself about what you're feeling. Not, worry so much about what somebody else is telling you, what the outside voices are telling you, but what are you actually feeling within yourself? And that is where the answer is for you. So it's not so much about, what you can trust on the outside, but ultimately trusting yourself to know what the right next steps are for you, whether that is an action that you're considering taking or an opportunity that you're considering accepting. So really enter into that still space and allow the answers to come from there, from that peaceful, quiet space where you can really feel, not just the surface emotions or excitement or fears or whatever's coming up for you, but the more subtle layers and the voice of your soul as well. And this card here, I think, is a reminder that there's no need to rush. So if you need time to make a decision, take the time you need, and you can approach this journey one step at a time rather than trying to do it all at the same time. So really take the time you need and allow it to be a journey also, and embrace, the complexity of who you are as well, the many layers and pieces of your soul. So there might also be a journey towards wholeness, or also expressing yourself in ways that feel more complete, or expressing yourself more fully and really stepping into your power in that way. Okay, there's a lot more I could say here. There's so much imagery in each of the cards and a lot of messages kind of wanting to jump out. And, I'd encourage you to maybe dive into some of the symbols here for yourself as well, if there's anything that stands out, and ultimately trust the messages that are standing out and resonating with you. All right, this is what I have for you today. If you are loving these cards, again, this was the Enchanted by Nature Oracle deck by Anna Babich. I'll leave the link for you down below. If you are dreaming of making your own Oracle deck, or already on the journey of making your own deck, and you want more support to make your dream of your own card deck a reality, whether it's an Oracle deck, tarot deck, or affirmation deck, or any kind of deck, then I would love for you to come into our mastermind, the Deck Creators Launchpad. You can find us at deckcreators.com. I will also leave the link for you down below. I'm sending you lots of love, and I can't wait to be back with more very soon.